My name is Marisol Mendoza, and now we will be discussing the pros side to animal testing. You have heard how animal testing can be cruel and inhumane. You have also heard how there are other ways to experiment instead of using animals for medical research or for cosmetics. But what you haven't heard is how animal testing can be extremely beneficial. What people don't realize is how many lives animal testing can save and lead to new discoveries. Without animal testing, we wouldn't be where we all are today or have the medical advances we have today due to animal testing. Animal testing has led to major advances in understanding and treating illnesses and conditions. For example, breast cancer, brain injuries, cystic fibrosis, childhood leukemia, and so many more have benefited immensely from animal testing. It has also led to new discoveries and cures for medicine, such as insulin for diabetics, the polio vaccine, and has contributed major advances in cancer. Not only do humans benefit from animal testing, but so do animals themselves. Animal testing has improved the health care of animals and increased their lifespan. Through animal testing, we can prevent illnesses for our pets and have cures to treat them when they are sick, ultimately helping veterinary care for animals. It has also allowed us to know how to improve our pets' lifestyle so that they live a happy life. We know now not how to treat ticks with medicine. Now we know how to treat them when they're sick, have cancer, or even when they have a simple cold. Animal testing has led to vaccines for rabies, which is necessary for animals today in the US to have, parvovirus, and other illnesses found in animals. For example, cats now have a treatment for feline leukemia. We need to look at the full story behind animal testing. We cannot complain about animal testing without proper knowledge about it. Most people base their arguments based on emotions and sympathy rather than facts. We commonly hear that animal testing should be banned because it is cruel and inhumane. Yet we kill thousands of animals every day to satisfy the US's demand for food. The food on our plates is available to us because we sacrifice animals for our health. Just like medicine is available because we sacrifice animals for our health. Of course, animal testing can be sad, but it will also be sadder to have a larger death population when it could be prevented. Many of us have never been sick from fatal diseases because of the major medical advances from animal testing. Just imagine a world that never found a vaccine for polio. What would we do then? It would be like living back in the day when the Black Plague erupted. But those that are sick from fatal diseases rely on new discoveries from scientists and animals. Many of us may not be in desperate need for a cure to an illness, but there are thousands that are. Today we may be healthy, but what happens if we are no longer in good condition and need a cure, or even our children or grandchildren are ill in the future? What would you do then to save your or their lives? It is safe to say you would do almost anything. When we are ill, we take medicine and don't think about where it comes from or how it got in our hands. We simply take the medicine and hope we get better. And in most cases, we do get better. But without animal testing, this norm would not exist.
Hi, my name is Joshua Law, and we're going to just take a look at some of the facts about animal testing. According to the Southwest National Primate Research Center, vaccines that have been developed and produced by conducting research on primates has reduced the number of cases of polio from 58,000 a year to only 1 or 2 a year. Only because of testing on animals have we been able to treat and save 70% of children that have lymphocytic leukemia with chemotherapy. and the identification of the hepatitis C virus was very dependent upon the research done on chimpanzees. Research and testing on animals is still conducted today. In fact, a study done in 2015 found that testing has increased by 73% in the last 10 years because it has been so effective. A 2011 poll of nearly 1,000 biomedical scientists conducted by the science journal Nature found that more than 90% agreed that the use of animals in research is essential. The American Cancer Society, American Psychological Society, National Association for Biomedical Research, American Heart Association, and the Society of Toxicology all advocate the use of animals in scientific research. It has been so effective, in fact, that there have been numerous Nobel Prizes awarded because of medical research on animals. Testing on animals isn't only effective, but also very efficient. Testing drugs on animals spares humans from ineffective drug trials that may just end up diminishing all hope in curing whatever ailment they have. When we do use humans for trials, 11% of sites fail to enroll even a single patient. 37% of sites do not meet their enrollment goals. 40% of surveyed adults don't understand clinical trials. And 32% of surveyed adults say they'd consider participating after they understand what a trial is. Animals' short lifespan allows researchers to observe and experiment on the animal throughout its entire life. This is very helpful because we can see and predict long-term effects of medicine and other substances that may occur in humans. Laboratory mice, for example, live for only 2 or 3 years. So researchers can study the effects of treatments or genetic manipulation over a whole lifespan or across several generations, which would be infeasible using human subjects. Mice and rats are particularly well suited to long-term cancer research, partly because of their short lifespans. Observing and experimenting on animals also makes it much easier to control any variables that may come into play. Some animals are only so effective as test subjects because of their relationship with humans. Biologically, mice, chimpanzees, and some other animals are very similar to humans. In fact, they share many of the same organs and the same number of them. Testing on humans could prove to be very problematic, making animals a much better alternative. As I said before, mice and chimpanzees have much in common with humans. Mice share 98% of their DNA with humans. Chimpanzees, on the other hand, take it a bit closer with the 99% DNA similarity, all of which share many similar organs and similar body systems. All mammals, including humans, are descended from common ancestors and have the same set of organs, heart, kidneys, lungs, and more, that function in essentially the same way with the help of a bloodstream and central nervous system.
My name is Carly Hammond, and I will be talking about some of the laws and regulations on animal testing. Laws to protect animals from being mistreated include that animal research is regulated by the Federal Animal Welfare Act, also known as the AWA. The AWA regulates the care and use of animals in research, testing, teaching, exhibition, transport, and by dealers. However, the AWA provides only minimal protection for certain species while excluding others such as rats, mice, and birds bred for research, who together constitute an estimated 90 to 95% of animals in laboratories. Some of the regulations by the AWA include regular inspections by veterinarians. The AWA also sets a minimum housing standard, including enclosure size for the animals, the temperature of the enclosure, and access to clean food and water. All proposals to use animals for research must be approved by the Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee, also known as the IACUC. Some of the regulations for approval for testing on animals include: they must consider alternatives to animals. They must use appropriate species, quality, and number of animals. They must avoid or minimize pain or discomfort caused to animals by testing, and they must provide adequate veterinary care, and the experiments must be conducted and/or supervised by qualified and experienced personnel. Aware of the potential importance of their work and how a system can lend insight into how to prevent and cure illness, scientists followed the 3 R's in order to reduce the impact of research on animals. The 3 R's include reduction, refinement, replacement. Reducing the number of animals used in experiments by improving experimental techniques, improving techniques of data analysis, sharing information with other researchers. Refining the experiment or the way that animals are cared for so as to reduce their suffering by using less invasive techniques, better medical care, and better living conditions. Replacing experiments on animals with alternative techniques such as experimenting on cell cultures instead of the whole animals, using computer models, and studying human volunteers. Replacements to animal research must be used by law wherever possible. The animal welfare regulations explain the role of institutional animal care and use committee, which every research institute must have one, in ensuring that researchers have considered and will use any replacement method available. The principal investigator or researcher has considered alternatives to procedures and has provided a written narrative description to determine that alternatives were not available. The fact that animal research continues is once again testimated to the fact that there are no alternatives to animal research. We have animals to thank for all the medical breakthroughs in medicine developed by scientists. We care about animals, which is why we make laws and have organizations to protect them, just like the AWA and the IACUC. We are able to sacrifice animals for the health of millions of people, just like animals are sacrificed for food. You have heard both the positives and the negatives of animal testing, so now you choose. Who would you rather sacrifice? Would you rather test on loved ones or on animals under the proper care of professionals? If animal testing were to end and the government were to ask for subjects, would you be willing to participate in the test trial or allow loved ones to participate? Scientists cannot 100% guarantee that a new treatment or prescription will work, nor can they guarantee there won't be harmful side effects without prior testing on animals. That being said, would you or a loved one step into a medical experiment not knowing the side effects that could occur or even a possible mutation? Overall, animal testing has its pros and its cons. But when we look deeper into the topic of animal testing, it can be said that it could be the most efficient and effective way. It's a complex topic, but we should not be hypocritical and demand an end of animal testing when we don't typically reject cosmetics and medicine that was previously tested on animals. Before you take your stance on animal testing, think about the pros and cons that we have provided to you today. And think about how your life would be today if animal testing never existed.